Thanks for jumping back into our series on From Seed to Significance, Building Big with Little. We're going to explore those 3 points and questions that we had. Overcoming the fear of starting small, recognizing the value in your current resources, and staying committed through the quiet seasons of growth. Episode 1 was awesome. Let's get into episode 2 and see if we can have some more of this stuff out. Let's go. Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an All-Purpose Life, wherever you are and however you're listening to. They call me Mr. U and the Inspiration Station. Thanks again for making us a part of your week. We're so glad to be back with you guys again. We're excited about what we already began to see kind of manifesting from our first episode on this series of Seeds to Significance. It's a pretty insightful topic to me personally. It sounds like it's resonating with you guys as well. So thanks for jumping in. We're definitely glad to have all you beautiful souls out here being a part of this. And like we said on our first episode in the series, we believe that there's a sacred truth that everything that is of any kind of greatness or significance begins with a seed. I'll say it again for those in the back. Everything that is great and significant begins with a seed. We're excited about this topic because we believe there's some questions we need to ask ourselves if we are indeed on the road to success. So we're going to get into it. And those 3 points that we want to try to cover today, hopefully we can get it covered today. Kind of why we're doing the series, I guess, because we couldn't get through it the first episode. But the first thing is exploring overcoming the fear of starting small. Why is that a problem for so many of us? Recognize the value in your current resources, not the ones you're about to have, but the ones that you have right now. And also staying committed through the quiet seasons of growth. It gets hard. It gets lonely. Sometimes you feel helpless. How do you stay committed? I'm going to do my best to walk through this series and walk through all of these areas. Hopefully we can get this done today. I'm excited about it though. But I asked a question last week. What seed has God already placed in your hands? Some of your responses back are pretty awesome. But what do you have in your hands already? A lot of times we as humans, and a lot of it is greed. It's perpetuated by selfishness. We want to get more because we think that's the answer to the question. If we have more, we feel like we're in a better place. There's a young man that we hear about in scripture. He wasn't given a name, or his name wasn't shared. He was known as the rich young ruler. Excuse me. And he was known to have a massive amount of wealth. He also did all of the right religious things that a person would do. They didn't murder. They didn't kill and steal. They didn't cover their neighbor's wife. All the good things he did. But when he encountered the Savior, when he encountered Jesus asked him to do one thing. You've done well. You've done well your whole life. One thing I'll ask you, give away all that you have and follow me. Jesus was offering him what I call the great exchange. Have more than what you have right now, but more significance than what you have right now. He's known as being wealthy, but obviously he came to the Savior for a reason. Why? Because inside of him, even though he was doing all the right things, all the religious things, and had wealth beyond his own expectations, he still felt like something was missing. That's the significance that we want. That's that important part of us that we miss so much because we're chasing all of these things. So we're getting into that. I don't want to go off into a tangent. Let's go ahead and try to start off where we left off in the last episode about overcoming the fear of starting small. It's a powerful, powerful statement, the fear of starting small. I know people who have such a fear of public speaking that just the idea of being in front of a room where there are people plunges them into a panic. What if that person was destined to speak to people all around the world, in countries all over the world, and to encourage them out of poverty, out of lack, out of poor mindset, and usher them into a wealth mindset that would change the course, not only of the country they're in, but even the course of the region, maybe even the world. That one person has the ability to do that, but they're afraid and they're paralyzed because they're afraid to talk in front of people. You could have a seed inside of you that could mean significance and still let that seed die because of what you think, how you feel, the fears that you have. Where does this fear of starting small even come from? I believe it starts with our view of the seed, our view of the resource. If you look at it like it's insignificant, guess what you'll do? You'll treat it like it's insignificant. There are times when I was in my hometown, and we hear about this a lot now, but it was rampant. There was a little bit of racism in my hometown, but it's not like the kind of racism that you will see in the South back in the day. It was a little bit different. It was more subtle. When people think you're not valuable, and I'll just cut right to the chase here. If people think you're not valuable, they'll treat you like you're not valuable. It could be the way that they talk. They could be a little bit short with you. Maybe perhaps they'll see you standing next to somebody else who they think is more significant and more worthy, and they'll offer that person more resources than they offer you because they don't think you're valuable enough to receive those resources. They don't think it's worth their time to give it to you. We're not talking about racism. We're talking about the idea and the mindset of how we view a people. In this case, how do you view the seed that you have in your hands already? That you answered from last episode. How do you view the seed? How do you view the resource? Is it too small to do what you're dreaming of? Is it worth your time to develop it? Do you want this thing that you are desiring, this dream, this goal, this project? Do you want it bad enough that you wouldn't allow that seed to grow as long as it takes to produce the kind of fruit that you're expecting? My wife and I being what we call amateur gardeners, but it's been almost 10 years now. And we've grown a little bit of everything at least once. And I think we're way smarter than we give ourselves credit for. But however, everything that we plant doesn't always grow. We put seeds in the ground every year, often twice a year. It doesn't always grow. What's my point there? We view that seed as an opportunity. We view that seed as a potential planting, as a potential fruit bearer. One seed can produce 20, 50, 30 fruits, depending on what kind of fruit it is. One seed can do that. We plant that seed into the ground and we give it water and sunlight, and we believe throughout the process, even though we can't see it, it's growing under the ground in obscurity. We can't see it. It's growing in darkness. We can't see it until it comes out of the ground. It starts the next step of the process. But we believe that we put that seed in the ground, it's going to produce fruit. Everything great begins with a seed. We believe that. How far do you see your seed progressing? What do you do when you can only go so far in your vision? I feel like that's the biggest limitation that we have when it comes to the fear of starting small. It's our faith level. I'm not telling you to go run the church and start kind of operating faith and just be haphazard about it. I'm just saying that our experience often limits us. If you've never been around people who do big business, movers and shakers, it's hard for somebody to invite you into that world and you know what to do. You haven't been exposed to it. What do you do when you haven't seen or heard the kind of thing that you're trying to accomplish? Yeah, you get in your own head and you often quit and you neglect that seed and you don't accomplish the thing that you desire to for so much of your life. We want to go from seed to significance. We want to build big with little. A lot of times we don't have the experience to see how to handle this situation, how to go further with this idea, this goal, this dream, this project. So, Mr. U, what's the answer? How do we solve the overcoming the fear of starting small? Well, one thing you do with fear, period, I don't care if it's bungee jumping, I don't care if it's going up in a hot air balloon or getting on a roller coaster or elevator for that matter. How do you conquer the fear? You just do it. You don't think about it. You ignore how your body feels in the sweats. You ignore all the scenarios playing out in your head, and you just go and do it. In this scenario, I want to offer a slightly different solution in the fear of starting small, because everything that you guys do, whether you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, if you're over a nonprofit, or you're trying to start out in the podcasting world or in some kind of entrepreneurship venture, you're starting small. You didn't get a loan from the bank. You don't have a rich relative that's sewing into you. You don't even have no email marketing lists. You don't have anything. You're starting from the very beginning. You're starting from the epitome of scratch. But you're starting. And that's the answer. When it comes to being limited by your experience, that's going to happen. I mean, last episode, we talked about King David. He didn't start off as a king. He was a shepherd boy and a neglected one at that. He was almost not even acknowledged as being a part of the family. How did he learn how to become king? It wasn't part of his experience. He wasn't around kings. He wasn't supported or encouraged or mentored by a king. A king tried to murder him multiple times, but he didn't know anything about being mentored by a king and what it looks like to be a king. But when the opportunity came, he stepped into it, put his fear aside, and he began to do the work. And sometimes, as simple as that sounds, that's what we need. I want to offer a different suggestion here with the fear of starting small. What I found out, and it's maybe the answer to multiple questions that we have in this series, I say that you should increase your sense of community. What does that mean? That means that if you have 5 people who are speaking into your life, I would evaluate that. Are they 5 people who are helping you to grow from seed to significance? Are they helping you to begin to put into form the dream that you have, helping your vision take shape? Are they helping you do that? If not, it's time to reevaluate the community and seek a different level of community. A community that has done something maybe perhaps you have not done. I learned this throughout the last almost 30 years now. If I want to do something that I've never done before, I got to be around people who I haven't been around before. I got to take insights and wisdom and counsel from people who are doing what I want to do that I've never done before. If I hang around Bay and Tay and them, they ain't going to help teach me nothing about what I'm trying to accomplish, because they have not accomplished it and maybe even have no desire to accomplish it. I got to do this, and I have to change my situation. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about how he went to a foreign country, didn't know the language whatsoever, but he stayed around people who spoke the language that he didn't know, stayed around them for about 3 days. Guess what started to happen? He began to pick up on some of the language and began to start speaking little words here and there, and was able to communicate slightly with these people it was their native language, their native tongue. He said, I don't know how that happened. I said, I know how. Immersion. That's how. Immerse yourself in a community of people who are doing what you want to accomplish. Even if it's not the exact same genre that you want to get into, I'm sure they have stories and insights and wisdom and wise counsel about overcoming fear and starting small to build the empire that they have right now. Change your community, change your sense of community, change your environment, change your circle. You begin to see it and hear testimonials and stories of victory and be around like-minded people who are doing what you haven't done. Let's get into the next part if we can, if we have time. Recognizing the value in your current resources, not the ones that are going to come, but your current resources. Have you ever heard somebody say, when I have $1 million and I'm rich, I'm going to take care of this charity. I'm going to donate to this. When I'm rich, when I get this rich, when I hit the lotto, I'm going to go help these people out over here. I'll do this for so-and-so and do that for so-and-so. If you don't have a heart to do it right now, even then, when you have the wealth, you'll never do it. Former NFL star Deion Sanders always said this quote, and I love it. He said that just having money makes you a wealthier version of what you already were. I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably butchering the quote, but you get it. Sorry, y'all. Excuse me. That's all that's going to happen. If you're not generous now, you're not going to be more generous when you have money. If you're already a selfish person right now, adding money to that makes you a rich selfish person. That's all that's going to happen. Recognize the value in your current resources. What do you have right now? There was a story in the Bible where Elijah came to a widow, and Elijah, as the prophet and a man of God and someone who's considered a seer and a person that hears directly from God, came to this widow and said, "Make me a cake." And the widow's like, "I don't have anything but this little small vat of oil and a little bit of flour. That's all I have." And what he was doing was pointing her attention not to the little that she had, but showing her the value of her current resources. There's more to the story than that, but I'm just giving you a Cliff Notes version of the story. She did end up making a cake, and she ended up becoming wealthy just by making the cake. That story is awesome. Check it out. I guarantee it'll bless your socks off. But he was pointing to her value in her current resources. Not trying to highlight the little that she had and make her feel bad about herself and her situation, but showing her that in the little things, you can do great things. Even in little things, the miraculous can happen. There are times we put seed in the ground in our garden, and honestly, all the conditions were against this seed growing. It just shouldn't have happened. I won't go into all the details and bore you with gardening stories, but it shouldn't have happened. And it had one of the greatest yields we ever saw in our garden. It was not projected. It probably wasn't even anticipated based on how it started. But it created the greatest yield that we ever had. Recognize the value in your current resources. Do you have people in your life that encourage you and boost you and stretch you and push you toward things that make you uncomfortable? Or do they coddle you and keep you where you are in your discomfort or in your comfort, excuse me? What does your community look like? What do you have around you? Do you have books that help you grow? Books that teach you concepts and ideas and stories of victory that help propel you to make some moves in your life, take some big steps in your life, make some big leaps? Who's around you? What are you reading? What are you listening to? I hope our podcast is one of the things that you're listening to. I hope it helps you with growing through business, entrepreneurship, purpose, and all the areas of your life. I hope it does. Our podcast blesses me. It helps me grow. It's a resource. Recognize the value in your current resources. If all you have is a hammer and a nail, you can build something. You may not have a chainsaw and a bulldozer. All you have is a hammer and a nail. You can build something. The pyramids of Egypt were constructed from simple tools, copper chisels, levers, and ramps and rollers. They had to move massive bricks and lift massive bricks. But the sheer scale of these structures was massive, and they had limited technology at that time. All they had was their simple tools, and they did what I think was a remarkable engineering feat, an achievement for all times. I can't think of one person that stood by those pyramids and basked in awe of how great this work was and wonder how it was done. People don't say it's the aliens. Yes, no. Somebody built that with tools. Simple tools. Tools that didn't look very great or spectacular, and they built something great out of it. And it's going on and on. It's not even the first time. The Great Wall of China, same situation. It spans over 2,000 miles, built over centuries. How? Using a variety of materials: earth, stone, brick. Massive workforce, but they relied on basic tools to get it done, basic materials to get it done. The builders may have been resourceful and had ingenuity in using those tools, but nonetheless, they had simple tools and they got that done. Recognize the value in your current resources. What do you have in your hand? Like we asked about on the last episode. What do you have in your hand that you can build with? What do you have? Do you have enough resources to start a lemonade stand? Then start one. Do you have enough resources to start a clothing line? Then start it. The capital will come. The loans will come. The resources will come. The clients will come. But start it. You have value in your current resources. If you keep waiting for the future resource to come, you'll be waiting forever. And you'll miss the opportunity to build something now and grow it. If that makes sense? Excuse me, I hope it does. Well, we don't have time for our third point, I don't think. But we'll come back to that one. But I want to ask you a question before we close out. How can limitations become invitations for growth? Look at the Great Wall of China. Look at the pyramids of Egypt. Look at the situations that you've been dreaming about for years and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe you want to start your own hair salon. Maybe perhaps you want to start your own barbershop. Maybe you want to start your own car detailing business. You ran into limitations. How can it become invitations? Just by how you perceive them. Like we talked about earlier, your vision is going to determine how far this thing goes. You can get mad and say, hey, this wouldn't give me a loan. You can say, you know what? People wouldn't support me. They wouldn't go on my website. I gave you my business card, but they didn't call me. You can say all those things, but your vision is going to determine how far this thing can go. How much do you believe this is worthwhile? How much do you believe this solves an actual problem for people? How much do you believe that this will change somebody's world by having this business or access to this resource that you have in your hands? Take your limitations and turn them into opportunities to grow. Grow from them. David was a shepherd boy, excuse me, who wasn't thought of much. His own family almost forgot that he was even in existence. He did not. That's the limitation if I ever saw one. But he was faithful. And it was an opportunity for him to grow, and he became arguably the greatest king in biblical or any other history. It was a limitation. He turned it into an invitation to grow. You can do the same thing. Honestly, I got a little bit more left, so we're going to have one more episode in the series, and we're going to close it out next time. So thanks for listening again. If you haven't already, please jump on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheyCallMeMrU. Love to get your support there. Hit us with a subscribe and like and share some of our videos. And of course, please comment on this series. Love to hear your thoughts on this. It's just starting to get good.